Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, the irredeemable Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, good to have you along. Hey, so let's take care of a little business, but I'm moving too quick even for my own blood this morning. Isn't that crazy? Well, what we do on the Daily Drift every weekend is go over the news that I put on thedailydrift.com, and if you're not going there, you should. It's the news you need to know. Just, sometimes, man, you got one job in here, right?
I know.
Okay, well, anyways, our sponsor this half hour, Cheryl Stockwell Academy. If you're looking for an alternative to schools, and many people are because they're not happy with some of the brainwashing.
And they should not be.
Yes, and the things that go on in your normal public schools. I'm not pointing fingers at any particular district.
Just all of them. Just all of them.
No, I've got a few that I'm going to hammer this year. But Cheryl Stockwell Academy is a high-achieving school of excellence. We've got different kindergartner options and all kinds of different programming going on there. 810-632-2200. That's 810-632-2200. Open enrollment for fall is happening now, and it is tuition-free. Okay, let me say that again, tuition-free. And Cheryl Stockwell Academy is a great, a really great school, good people there, a good board that runs it, and they're located at 9758 East Highland Road in Howell, Michigan, which is kind of like that Brighton-Howell area, so it's not that far, a quarter mile west of US 23 on M59. So easy to get to, easy on and off, easy to get to, get your kids in, get your kids out. You got that look on your face. What?
Tuition free?
It's tuition free. Yeah, it uses public school dollars. Yeah, it's if you're looking for an alternative.
Why would you not?
Why would you not? Yes, amazing. 810-632-2200. That's Cheryl Stockwell Academy. Give them a call and just explore the options you have in the educational system. Okay, so Derek, I want you to kind of keep an eye on what's happening with the Boston Free Speech Rally, right? That's going on. If you can find a Periscope, somebody doing something live there. Dollars to donuts. It'll probably be peaceful today because I think there's enough level-headed people. But last Saturday, as we were doing this show, the violence was kicking off down in Charlottesville. So that's the kind of craziness that is happening in our society right now. And it should tell you something, folks. Donald Trump was duly elected by the majority of Americans based on our system, so duly elected, and yet some people are so angry and mad about it that they're doing everything they can to cause a ruckus and undo the election. That's really what's happening here. Right?
There's a Scott Adams blog where he talks about mass hysteria, mass hallucinations. And basically he's saying, so many people the smart people, there's no way Trump will win, that they just can't wrap their brains around the fact that they were wrong, and they can't. So they have to look for some other explanation of why they're wrong.
This is sheer Alinsky tactics to demonize not only Donald Trump, but every single one of us that elected him and voted for him and support him, as I still do. Because you know what? You can say whatever you want, media, you lying bunch of... I almost said it.
No.
It almost came out.
Do we do 7-second delay live?
We do. I think Derek's always had a finger ready to bump Gary because I ride that edge. I've been pretty good, though, I think. I don't know that I've ever actually been beeped out.
Oh, Theron let loose on Let Her Rip. He got one away.
Yeah. Well, it happens occasionally. So
it did. He apologized.
But I want to start because they're saying this alt-right thing is all white supremacists. Listen, I consider myself alt-right, folks, and it's not because I'm a white supremacist or anything else.
I'm all right.
I am not your typical conservative, right? I'm a fiscal conservative. Don't spend more than you take in. Use common sense. I'm a social moderate. I think a lot of people might be surprised. I have some socially moderate views. I am not a super extreme right person. I really am not. You may be, and I'm perfectly.
And I don't consider myself alt-right. I'm a conservative. I mean, look, man, I'm sorry. You and I might disagree on this, but I think alt-right has become a pejorative term.
Yes.
And I'm not buying into it.
Yeah, because of the media.
Yeah.
And so I want to play, Derek, I sent you that extra link. Do you got that? That's Ben Swan. And we've played this on the show before, and I wanted to play it again. Because you can't keep calling everybody that supports Donald Trump a bunch of alt-right, white supremacists, neo-Nazis. I am none of those.
And you water down the term. When you do that, people start to look at, I guess that term means nothing anymore.
Yes. So Derek, you got the Ben Swan video. Go ahead and play that. This is the best explanation of the alt-right I've ever heard anywhere. Go ahead and play it.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump has once again stunned the media and political establishment by announcing Stephen Bannon, the former head of Breitbart
stunning
News,
the media
as
for a
the
year
chief
now,
White House
2 years.
strategist. The move immediately condemned by groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because Bannon, they say, promotes white supremacy.
Nonsense.
So what is true about Stephen Bannon and white nationalism? Let's give it a reality check. Well, the first two appointments made by President-elect Donald Trump for his new administration are his White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, and his Chief White House Strategist, Stephen Bannon. Now, no one seems to care about Priebus, but Bannon's appointment has created a huge outcry. Groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center are pushing back, and even conservative media figures like Glenn Beck are saying that Bannon has no place in the White House.
Nonsense.
SPLC President Richard Cohen says that Mr. Trump's selection of Mr. Bannon makes a mockery of his first commitment to the American people as president-elect, to bind the wounds of division. In Mr. Bannon, he has tapped a man who has fanned the flames of division by providing a platform for racism, xenophobia, misogyny, and anti-Semitism. It's shocking. Now, to be clear, despite the numerous statements, news stories, and claims that Stephen Bannon is anti-Semitic, a misogynist, racist, I've not been able to find any statements or articles from Bannon that support that. What I have found is that every reference to Bannon is less about him, more about what he's done with Breitbart News since taking it over after the death of Andrew Breitbart. Most claims about Bannon actually deal with the platform that he has constructed at Breitbart for what is known as the alt-right. Ben Shapiro, the former editor-in-chief of Breitbart, who quit earlier this year, wrote this about Bannon's shift toward the alt-right, saying, quote, Breitbart has become the alt-right go-to website, with Milo Yiannopoulos pushing white ethno-nationalism as a legitimate response to political correctness, and the comments section turning into a cesspool for white supremacist meme makers. Now, for his part, Stephen Bannon has proudly said that Breitbart has become the platform for the alt-right, or the alternative right. But what does that mean? The alt-right is a term that was coined by a white nationalist by the name of Richard Spencer. Spencer, who yesterday was purged from Twitter, by the way, is the founder of the Virginia-based National Policy Institute. It's a white nationalist think tank. Spencer, who makes no apologies for being a white nationalist, says that the alt-right movement is made up of those who feel deeply alienated, intellectually, even emotionally, and spiritually from American conservatism. So the alt-right movement is a white nationalist movement, right? Well, no, that's not really true either. Start digging into the alt-right movement, and without question, you're going to find that, yes, there absolutely is a presence of white nationalism. But where media is getting the story wrong is to assume that the alt-right is primarily white supremacy, because it's not. In fact, it's very difficult to figure out the alt-right, because it mostly consists of a variety of people who are, among other things, anti-globalist, nationalist, anarcho-capitalist, concerned about big banks, overregulation, white males who believe that political correctness has run amok and don't have a voice in modern American society. But what you need to know is that more than anything, from what I have found, the alt-right is made up of those who want to see a decentralization of powers, political powers, corporate and banking powers, as well as media power, even military power. Without question, there are white nationalists as a part of the alt-right, and there is a dark element to it. But there's a dark element to just about every kind of political faction.
Black Lives
to claim
Matter.
that the alt-right are only or
Antifa.
even mostly white nationalists, well, that's why media once again is using
La
labels
Raza.
to smear something that it does not understand, rather than trying to actually understand it. That's Reality Check. Let's talk about that on Twitter.
All right, so there you go. So the alt-right is no different than the alt-left. You have a bunch of crazies on the left, you have a bunch of crazies on the right. And the majority of people are not that way. You know, you say you're not alt-right, but let me ask you, are you happy with the way the GOP establishment has handled Planned Parenthood funding?
No.
Okay. So the GOP establishment does not represent you being a super conservative, right to life guy.
But they are not right.
Bingo.
Okay, so
Bingo. So you are alternatively right.
Right. Okay.
Right?
No,
So-
I'm really right. They are rhinos, except that when you say rhino, the Republicans are Republicans in name because they have become this middle-of-the-road wishy-washy group.
That is correct. And that's where this painting everybody with a broad brush is not effective.
Well, you know what you
and
were
it hurts
just
things more than helps things.
What you were just saying was the same thing Trump was saying in his Charlottesville speech. There are good people on either side, and there's terrible people on either side. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to excuse the fact that these idiots marched to the monument with torches. I was talking to someone the other day. You know what? How much cheaper would it have been to have candle march, right? Would have been cheaper, number one.
Yeah.
Certainly would have reflected more peaceful, loving, open and honest transparency as opposed to marching. They did it on purpose. And some idiot did that on purpose to try and provoke. And that was wrong. That should not have happened. But at the same point, these idiot lefts, the alt-lefts, if we want to call them that, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, are all trying to tear down history. If you're tearing down history, you're no better than ISIS or Al-Qaeda. You really are not.
That's right.
Because, history of itself, in and of itself, is not bad or good.
It's neutral.
It's neutral. It is simply fact. It is fact that you should look at.
It's neutral when it's presented balanced. When
Absolutely.
history is told as a balanced account, this is what happened without inflecting your opinions necessarily into it, like the news has done all the time. Yeah.
Those that erase history are doomed to repeat it. Or in the case of the Democrats and the Antifa and the George Soros progressives, they want that to be erased. They do it on purpose so that they can control you again in the future via some other means. They may not have the slave plantations, but they're going to make you dependent on them for money. Universal pay, right?
Yeah.
Let's bring in the robots. You can all vote still, but you'll take universal pay and you'll only get it if you vote my way. Yeah. That's what they're doing to us.
It's like Bill Federer told me. He says, a country that forgets its history is like a man without a memory.
Yeah.
He's dysfunctional, dementia. It's what we see today. People don't know the history. They don't know, they don't know that we fought the Russians in World War II in 1953 on the Korean Peninsula.
And when you see these Confederate monuments, people think, oh, you're glorifying the Confederacy. You know what? No, they're showing a man who made a decision to fight for something that was wrong. Yeah. And when you see that statue and you walk down and your kid says, who was that man, Daddy? You say, that's a man who fought for the wrong ideas.
Yep.
He thought he was right, but he was wrong because he hurt people by trying to install and keep slavery as part of America. And that was wrong. But we went to war, and thousands of Americans, black and white, died trying to remove that ideology of slavery. And so you should never be taking those down, because if the kids can't see the monument, they won't ask who it was, and they won't get that lesson in history.
And particularly Robert E. Lee.
Yes.
When you look at the end result of Robert E. Lee's life, when you look at the end result of where he was, that is something to celebrate. You may not celebrate that he led the army of the South against the North. That's fine. And, it's not something to celebrate. But what he did, the honor that he did it with, the way he treated his men, and then the decisions he made after the war, the reconciliation he did, the standing up for blacks that he did after the war, it's all something to celebrate. You tear down that statue, you demonstrate against the good that he did.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that we're doing this, because it is no different than ISA tearing down thousands of years of Buddhas, of Judaism, of anything else. You know what I mean? Tearing down Roman cities because they represented something that ISIS no longer wants to see, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a call from Jimmy in Manchester. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Jimmy. What's up?
What we need to remember, and I think the argument that needs to be made, is if Americans voted for Trump. Now, even if there was a couple of them that were white supremacists, they're Americans too. And there was probably some people that voted for Obama that switched and voted for Trump because they didn't see anything good happen, and they thought, why not try it?
Oh, I know they did.
Those are Americans, okay? So, I don't know any